6 injured people from Suhua highway accident were sent to Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital. In Xiamen, China, Tzu Chi volunteers help a mentally challenged man to clean his home. Welcome to DAI Headlines. I'm Elise Ann DeVito. Thank you for joining us. In the afternoon of March 16th, a coach on the Suhui Highway crashed into a mountain. 6 of the injured people were sent to Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital for medical treatment. Tzu Chi volunteers showed up to express concern and also gave the patients the blessings from the master.
A total of 6 patients were transferred from Yilan Hospital to Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital after an accident on the Suhua Highway.
One has fractures on her right arm and right leg, but still remains conscious. The other suffers lacerations to her scalp and left arm. His wife was also on the same coach and hurt her chest. If it is convenient for some of the injured to be taken care of, we are ready to receive them.
Miss Zhou, who was sitting in the second row, had a fracture in her right arm and right leg. The other injured person sitting in the 6th row with his wife recalled the situation at that time and still panicked.
I dare not to go out for a few years. Hopefully, I'll be blessed if I'm still alive after the accident. After all, life and death is just a split second.
Although Mr. Chen had fastened a seatbelt at the time of the accident, he was still thrown out of the coach due to the high impact force, causing his ribs to break. The injured were transferred to Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital one after another, and Tzu Chi volunteers also came to care for them and give them blessings.
The doctor said I was lucky to sit at the last row. I was thrown out but still could walk, with just my skin hurt.
What we can do is actually quite limited. We just try to express the Master's concern and blessing from city volunteers around the world.
For the patients who have experienced serious accidents, the healthcare workers not only provide them with medical treatment, but also spiritual care.
In this accident, more than 50 Tzu Chi volunteers in Yilan district were mobilized. In addition to the scene of the accident, volunteers also went to the Suao branch of Taipei Veterans General Hospital to care for the injured patients.
After injured people were sent to the hospital during nighttime, a group of firefighter volunteers and engineers spared the cold wind and hunger, cleaning up the mess left behind.
Some Tzu Chi brothers and sisters in our district have borrowed a scooter. After obtaining the permission from a traffic police, I rode the scooter to deliver the supplies to the scene to comfort the traffic police over there.
On the other side, the families of the deceased arrived at the Suao branch of Taipei Veterans General Hospital. Volunteers rushed to buy food for them, accompany and comfort them until midnight.
Our duties have only completed until the last vehicle of the deceased left.
Volunteers listened to the injured people patiently and comforted them. In the next morning, volunteers went to the hospital again to give them emergency monetary aid.
We just asked them to leave their phone number so that our brothers and sisters in New Taipei City can provide them with further care in the future.
4 injured patients were hospitalized for medical treatment. Volunteers from New Taipei City will take over to provide them with follow-up care.
In 2015, Ma Hongying suffered burns on 40% of her body. Since her accident, Hongying has undergone many skin grafts. Tzu Chi volunteers helped find a hospital specializing in burn care in Anhui, where Hongying received treatment. Afterwards, Tzu Chi volunteers held a welcome home party.
Tzu Chi volunteers sing enthusiastically to welcome home 12-year-old Ma Hongying, who is shying away from the attention by covering herself up with the hood of her vest. But her eyes shine with happiness as she greets the volunteers. At such a young age, she's had to endure the pain after the surgery time and time again. The volunteers recommended she visit a burn hospital in Anhui to help with the scarring.
Only in parts where I had laser treatment and acupuncture. Also, when there was bloodletting, there also hurt a little.
This medical journey was taken during the winter vacation, and Ma only had her sister as a companion.
I was very anxious about this trip because I wasn't sure the two kids going to Anhui by themselves was a good idea. But I then saw the local sisters taking good care of my children. And also due to the pandemic, I refrained from joining them. During this time, it seems my children have grown up a lot and are more independent now.
After a month of treatment, the two sisters are finally home in Dongguan, and Tzu Chi volunteers hosted a welcome home party.
As humans in society, we must continue to make connections with people and help one another. This is what is most important in our lives. So when we have these opportunities, we must go out and make a connection.
As Ma has been away for a month in Anhui, the volunteers have been worried about her recovery, and thus Ma's sister updated everyone on her condition.
Those areas need ointment application. The laser helps smooth out the scarring here, and on the face, it's still obvious right now, but with ointment, it will help.
Towards the end of the welcome home party, the volunteers presented Ma with a cake to celebrate, as well as wish her all the best during her recovery journey.
In Malaysia, the Tzu Chi Malacca chapter provides assistive devices for families in need. Besides cleaning and disinfecting the devices, volunteers also teach the family how to use them. They delivered the devices to families in a spirit of love and care.
Our assistive devices include medical beds, wheelchairs, crutches, and commode chairs.
Wheelchairs, crutches, and medical beds are placed neatly. These are second-hand assistive devices people have brought. After organizing them, volunteers will deliver them to people in need.
We do not only lend assistive devices, we also do follow-ups and deliver love and care. We help lessen their burdens. When they need help, we, Tzu Chi volunteers, will be there.
Knowing that caring for patients is not easy, volunteers help the patient disassemble the old bed frame. Then they move the electrical bed into the house and prepare cushion to lessen patient's pain.
I think my mom is so lucky. She's very lucky. So I think only 1 day or 2 days she managed to get the bed ready. Yeah, actually I would like to thank Tzu Chi and their team for helping me to do all this job. You see, I'm very, very glad. They helped me to clean the floor, to dismantle the bed, and then to fix the bed for me, to sweep the room some more, everything, to remove everything, and then did it nicely for me. So I'm very, very glad.
So it's a fully mechanical, this way. So as you can see the chart.
Delivering assistive devices to the patient, volunteers have improved the lives of the patient and their families while bringing them love and care.
In Malaysia, Fang Jim, a senior citizen living alone, fractured her arm in 2019 and was unable to work. Kluang Tzu Chi volunteers have provided medical subsidies and also carried out monthly visits to care for her.
77-year-old solitary senior Fang Jim has been doing recycling at her home, doing her best to reciprocate back to her society.
I just want to reciprocate back towards society. I want to do some good deeds to thank Tzu Chi's assistance. It's not much as I do not have a job right now. Nobody gives me money. Besides Tzu Chi, no one has helped me.
In 2019, Fang Jin met with an accident, which left her with a fractured bone at her arm. She was unable to work, and volunteers from Kluang provided medical subsidies and also visiting her every month.
In 2015, Tzu Chi has helped me before. Later on, I got a job, and after the accident, Tzu Chi has provided assistance once again. The volunteers treat me well every month. Whenever there's a problem, volunteers will be here caring for me.
After receiving the payment from her insurance company, she proactively stopped the subsidy provided by Tzu Chi. She also donated to help other less fortunate people.
It's not that my financials are very good now, but at least I have received a payment from the insurance company and I can manage my life now, so I can temporarily stop receiving the subsidies.
With a heart of contentment, she's enjoying a simple and happy life. With the company of the volunteers, Fang Jin is not lonely anymore, as she has Dharma family members now.
In Xiamen, China, 56-year-old Mr. Wei suffered an accident over 10 years ago that left him mentally challenged. His wife and son abandoned him, and he was unable to maintain personal hygiene, and the house became filthy. Tzu Chi volunteers helped him clean up, and he promised to maintain his home. Let's take a look.
在这种大都市区，怎么还有这样生活环境的人？感恩他能一下子信任我们慈济嘛。 他也感觉到我们慈济的真诚嘛，所以他也愿意让我们清理。
The house is full with rubbish. On the walls and furniture, we can see that they are full of cobwebs. One may think that this is an abandoned home, but it's not. Mr. Wei, who is mentally challenged, has been living here alone for more than 10 years.
He rears too many cats. When I was knocking here and digging the dirt, it was filled with cat excrement, so it's very smelly. Near the door, the smell is also very awful. What we can do is to help clean up his house so that he can have better health. That's our blessings.
As the rubbish and animal excrement have been there for many years, the smell is really awful, bringing much trouble to the neighbors. The community workers then contacted Tzu Chi for assistance. Volunteers have been caring for Mr. Wei since January, but were only able to head in to clean up in March.
It's very hard to scrub them off, but we hope to scrub them off quickly so that he can have a better living environment.
You are not just doing regular cleaning, you have done it mindfully. I believe that he will be touched by your actions in the future. It is hoped that he can clean up his living environment by himself.
We have made a promise. I told him that we have already helped him clean up the toilet, and in the future, he needs to continue maintaining the cleanliness of his house.
As volunteers help clean up the environment, his neighbors have had a change in mindset. The doors were once shut, but today, they have all come out to care for Mr. Wei.
It's like a new house. It really looks new and it's very comfortable.
Everyone has worked really hard. I'm very grateful. I'm also very contented with the new looks. I will also continue maintaining the cleanliness.
The promise by Mr. Wei is the biggest gift for the volunteers after their hard work. It is hoped that the love, care and trust will continue between Mr. Wei and the volunteers.
In the Philippines, Rio de los Reyes got to know Tzu Chi after Typhoon Quetzana swept through the Philippines. Since then, she has been a recycling volunteer. She vows to spread the spirit of Tzu Chi in her community. Let's learn more.
Crushing the PET bottles and sorting the recyclables, this is a daily routine for 41-year-old Rio. She lives in Marikina City and got to know Tzu Chi after Typhoon Quetzana swept through the Philippines. Ever since, she has been a local volunteer.
Over the years, I've learned a lot through doing recycling. For example, I've learned that after the PET bottles are being recycled, they can be made into clothes and blankets. Some papers can also be woven into bags too.
Rio is considered an impoverished resident as she needs to raise 7 children. The whole family relies on her husband's mere income as a construction worker to continue with their livelihood. However, she has a kind heart and is eager to contribute towards society.
Over the past few years, I've been following city volunteers to do charity work. I learned the true meaning of attaining happiness by helping others. When we spread our love to those in need, seeing them being happy makes us happy too.
Besides doing recycling, Rio also encourages her neighbors to donate their love, as she vows to spread the spirit of Tzu Chi in her community.
Nabago lang po sa ang buhay ko sa pag-volunteer. Napagpagitan po ng pagtulong sa kapwa. Dati-dati naman kasi hanggang bahay lang talaga ako. Bahay, ganyan lang.
In Singapore, monthly Recycling Day was suspended for 10 months due to the pandemic. Recycling Day is renamed as Environmental Sustainability Day, focusing on environmental protection education. The public must sort their own recyclables and learn the correct knowledge about sustainability.
The boxes indicating different types of items are neatly placed, and the safety distances are marked with stickers. Affected by the pandemic, the monthly recycling day in communities that have been suspended for 10 months is about to be restarted. The venue layout and flow of traffic are strictly complied with the pandemic prevention regulations.
It's not easy to start again, because we have to communicate with the town council and the residents committee to get their approval before we start it again. When people come in, we must ask them to scan the safe entry barcode for registration. They have to line up with 1 meter distance when they come in. It's also in one in and one out manner, so that they won't have any chance of cross-infection.
Under volunteers' guidance, the residents follow the movement plan to sort the recyclables they brought. The new model not only conforms to pandemic prevention regulations, but also allows the public to learn environmental protection knowledge.
This is quite different from the past. Before the pandemic, the residents brought the recyclables here and left. Now the residents have to sort the recyclables by themselves. So we hope to educate them to practice eco-friendliness bit by bit in daily life to make a subtle change.
At least I learned how to sort recyclables and which things can be recycled.
It's a pity to see some people throw away things that are still in good condition or are not used before. It is actually a good learning opportunity.
The Recycling Day is now renamed as Environmental Sustainability Day. While the pandemic is still continuous, let us practice environmental protection together so as to cultivate sustainable habits in favor of a greener environment.
In Singapore, the women's group of the People's Action Party celebrated International Women's Day with the theme of environmental sustainability. Beforehand, representatives from 14 branches went to the Tzu Chi Eco Awareness Center for an educational visit. More than 100 representatives also joined online with a hope to share Tzu Chi's philosophy on environmental protection to more residents.
Do join us here, residents who come down to bring along their recyclable items in commemoration of today being the International Women's Day and to echo sustainability.
In conjunction with the International Women's Day, the Women's Wing in Northwest District of Singapore celebrated it with a green theme.
Women, in Chinese pronunciation, means us. We should respond to the call to do something to protect the earth and green our environment.
So every section, you can do the same kind of design on the floor. So when the residents come, right, they can just like that.
Tzu Chi's long-term effort has been recognized by community organizations. As early as 1 week ago, representatives from various branches went to Tzu Chi's Eco Awareness Center for an educational visit.
They have a total of 14 branches. Each branch signed a representative to attend a course at our Eco Awareness Center. For the remaining of over 100 representatives attended course online. We are advocating the right way of recycling and cleanliness from the source. They understand the purpose of today's event is mainly to educate the public, and they know where the key points are.
Apart from learning the correct way of sorting, this group of women also strengthened their determination to promote environmental protection in the community.
I have learned a lot. For example, I used to think that environmental protection was all about bringing down the recyclables and leaving them to the collectors. It turns out that it is not the case. Now, I can share more with the residents. We plan to do this at least once a month.
If nobody cares about the environment, this earth will be gone very soon. So I think we must work together for the sake of our future generation and the earth. We should understand the importance of environmental protection.
Taking practical actions to protect the environment is the best gift from women for our earth on this Women's Day.
We meet Grandma Wu Lai Yue, who lives near Taichung. She is 89 years old and a foot problem prevents her from leaving her home. Her dream was to go shopping for herself. With the help of a van from the Hongdao Senior Citizens Welfare Foundation, she was finally able to carry out her dream.
When the van reaches Taichung's Taiping Mountain area, the god of wealth comes to personally greet this person. This 89-year-old grandmother has experienced a severe degeneration of her right foot. Furthermore, a short 30-meter slope from her doorstep to the main road makes travel even more difficult. This van is full of supplies for Lunar New Year's. This grandmother can freely choose what she wants.
You can be independent and have the dignity to choose what you want. This is the type of independence that we want to bring to elders' homes.
With limited mobility and not being able to go out to buy things, for all these years, social workers and relatives next door have helped her buy things.
We have to wear jackets because it's cold at night.
This big red blanket was gotten from the van that brought Lunar New Year goods. It is quite warm.
When it's not too cold, I can use this to cover myself. It's very comfortable and warm.
She has 4 children. The eldest son and younger son are both physically and mentally handicapped. For 20 years, she has accompanied her 2 sons by sleeping in the living room.
My little son sleeps here. He would run around and he slept there when he came back.
The eldest son passed away suddenly last year, and even though she was reluctant to let him go, she is finally starting to get better.
This is my eldest son's stuff. My eldest son has passed away. I miss him when he's not around. I think to myself, how can someone pass so suddenly?
She lost her husband early in life and raised her children alone. There are unspeakable regrets in her life, but the care that social workers have shown her have always warmed this grandmother's heart. Enduring love will always continue.
In Hualien, Jingsi Abode grows turmeric roots that are free of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. These organic roots are hand-harvested by the volunteers and monastics to avoid harming the insects in the soil. Here is the footage. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.